Hi, everyone. So this afternoon's presentation that I'm going to be making is regarding hiring process recap and changes. So I've broken up into different sort of sections or areas. And the first part I'm going to talk about is hiring and a local board's role. So the local board does determine membership eligibility. Part of that is to request and to work on getting a pre-hire physical. Now, those physicals are done by a physician, MD, and reported to the local board, who the local board then, I'm thinking it's a secretary, I don't know the process, would probably go ahead and make sure that that report is complete, give a copy to the member, because the member should be able to review the information, and if need be, can respond to the items that are in the report and get that particular member's information and get that on the agenda so that the board can review the IME, the report, sorry, harken back to disabilities all the time, can review that pre-hire physical report, note if there is any sort of pre-existing conditions. Mind you, all you're noting in the minutes is just, is there any pre-existing or not? Anything more specific that needs to be discussed would need to be discussed in executive session. The local board secretary does file the report as a permanent record. So that it does specifically state in statute 38859 that talks about who handles and who manages this report, that it does stay with the board. We typically do not get copies of that, and we don't track that information on our end. We have the local board minutes that we review that notes if there's anything pre-existing or not, and that's usually about all the information we get. Part of the information and resource that is really good, because I had to go through the exercise, well, I didn't have to, I went through the exercise of reviewing the model uniform rules and when we updated them. And there is a section that does talk about pre-hire physical, which is a great resource if you're looking for more information on that part of the process. So this is the local board's role in that hiring step. The employer step, you're onboarding a new hire, and the important thing to do is to make sure that the demographics in the employer portal is updated. It's important for a couple reasons. One, we need to know who that member is, so when they do start, when they do get that, what tier they're in, so contributions start timely, and so that if it is a brand new hire, tier 3, specifically under public safety, that they do get that email regarding their education on the DB and the DC plan. Part of that another step that we do need is to have that P1 or C1 completed. And that needs to be emailed to our active members group. And as long as the demographics has been updated, the active members can do their part to review that member's record and to get those beneficiaries listed. If the member is not in the demographics, then the active member group, they'll get those membership forms and they will send them back and asking for the employer to update that demographic field for each member. Public safety eligibility, it is in statute 38842 is definitions. So under definitions, it's sort of like it's a combination of all of these definitions that are listed there. Certified peace officer, eligible groups, employee, employers. A lot of times the one that we focus in on is the definition of a member, especially for joinder purposes. We do reference this a lot. It's a full-time employee, at least 40 hours per week or more, in 6 months or more in a calendar year, and AZ post-certified police officer and firefighter, and regularly assigned hazardous duty. And that is defined in statute also, the regularly assigned hazardous duty. Say that 10 times, wow. Corp membership, under the definitions 38.881, it's a designated position. So, and it does need to be full-time. And the designated positions are listed. Now, it has a couple positions listed for a county corp member. It has a longer list for a DOC or DOJC positions. It includes a city or town detention officer, full-time dispatchers, and again, that full-time dispatchers do not participate under corp anymore. They did close that. They are now part of ASRS. So anyone who was employed prior to, I believe I found it correctly in statute, 1124 of 2009, that was the last time that you could participate under corp. We've got the AOC, administration of the courts, and the DPS detention officers. So the demographic data, again, it's in the employer portal. It's the menu item is demographic manual. And be sure to enter in all the required data. There are fields that do have an asterisk after the title of the field. But from my experience, since I've been in this role as the local board relationship manager, check the social security number, double check the date of birth, and check the email address, because that tends to be the items that may be transposed in some way or not being able to legibly read it from what you're pulling it from. And that causes the, if it's a new hire, that member may not get that email from our office regarding that Tier 3 options. And also the employment status and employment effective date. More times than not, I don't have a list of the employment status, so I'm going into the demographic and I want to see what are my options. Because again, one of the options that's in the employment status is hired, return to work, hired, can't think of them all right now, but those are important ones to know that that's, if you do get a retiree rehired into a public safety eligible position, there is an option under employment status to make sure to note that they were hired, returned to work, and that, so that contributions are posted timely. And the screen. So just a screenshot of what it looks like. Again, there's asterisks in certain fields that are required. The one unique thing that when I was looking into this subject matter with staff is that for a new hire, what happens at a Tier 3 new hire, it doesn't have the asterisk on near the email address. But if you don't put an email address on a new hire, it won't let you save it. It won't let you move forward, I think. So you want to make sure that field is entered. And again, it won't let you move forward. Now, I don't know by forward, does that mean save it or move from that field, but you still need to put that email address so that individual does get that email address that email from us regarding that Tier 3 public safety DCDB options. Now the membership forms, I always go to this location in our screens, and that is the, from the main page, forms and resources and employers. And then as I scroll down, I find resources, but as I keep scrolling, I'm gonna find membership forms. And that's where the public safety membership form is and corp membership form is. And there's the corp one, a little different for those corp DC new hires. So again, just remember to enter the new hire into the demographics or even, and complete that P1 and C1 to get those forms emailed to us, to our office at activemembersgroup.com. And the email address is on both of those membership forms also. So on the public safety membership form, it's at the top of the form is the email address, and noted there, and on the corp form, it's at the very bottom. It has the options to fax, email, mail, but it always works faster to email. And if you need to email the information secure, you can always request a secure link from us. I know I've done that many times with retirement paperwork, that if you don't utilize that link and you need one, you can always email us and request a secure email site so you can email those membership forms to our office. Oh, yes, and this has been going on for decades. I remember we were at our building on 10th Street, Missouri, and my coworker would enter in refunds. She was always asking us, what do you think this letter looks like? What do you think this number looks like? I don't know. It looks like this. So penmanship counts. If you can, it's helpful. Yeah. Public safety, tier 3, new hire. Again, I'm sorry, I thought I was being so creative with my slides, but I guess, repeating things never hurts. Membership on or after 7/1 of 2017, the member will receive an email from us regarding their choices of DB and DC, so give them that opportunity to review that education. They only have 90 days, and they will get reminder emails at 30, 60, and 80. But be sure to enter them in demographics, because if you skip that piece of it, it's going to delay that member the opportunity to review this information. Now, if they don't make an election, it will default to defined benefit plan, but you still want to give them that opportunity. And so to be careful with their email address and let them know that they're going to get these reminder emails throughout the course of that 90 days. And then find out, if you can, if that's a possibility, make sure that member does get that email initially, or at least one of the reminders, so that they can go ahead and make that choice. Corp Tier 3, new hire. Corp Tier 3 is a DC plan only, except for the AOC positions, some AOC positions, they do have that choice of DB or DC. We still need that information updated in demographics and to complete that Form C1. Lateral hires, we get that very often, and I know all of you probably do get those individuals who move from one city to another in a police or fire capacity. It's important for the employer, the prior employer that the member is terminating employment from, to go in and update the demographics for that member to show a quit term as a status and to provide a date. Because then that gives that new employer the opportunity to get in there and update the demographics sooner and get those contributions started on a timely manner. We do get a lot of new employer, they're hired by this new employer, they call our office and they're wanting to know what's, I can't enter them into the demographics. They're not terminated from the prior employer. So it's helpful to remember that, if you could, that the sooner you go in and update that prior employee information, the sooner the new employer can do their part also, as we're requesting to get the demographics done and that membership form. And it does require a membership form because of how our system is currently working. We need to know when that lateral was hired at the new employer, and so that way we can start the timeline correctly. So any service that occurred prior to that new date of hire, we're going to track it as prior service so that the member's record is brought up to date and current. There is no intersystem transfer any longer. Statutes were revised so that contributions will remain on the member's record for that prior service. What we're trying to do is make sure that service is noted on the new employer, but the contributions will remain on that prior employer. That's how they're doing the actuarial valuations these days. Hired a retired member. Again, It's return to work, I know, but you're hiring a member who has retired from the plan. Whether it's the same employer or different employer, the employer should notify the local board so the local board can determine what do we need to do. If there is a ACR payable, demographics are updated. Does the pension need to be suspended? Did the member meet the return to work rules of being rehired before 60 days or after 60 days? Is it a designated position? Is it a public safety eligible position? And these statutes for return to work actually came into place in 2009. I found a really nice presentation that Bonnie Brown had done to track all of that return to work and the changes. And both Corp and public safety were updated, and Corp just kind of stayed there. Just didn't really change, but public safety has gone through a few different changes and amendments to that statute. Okay, that's it for me. Are there any questions?